Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Richard Gilbert. I'm a consultant who works in energy and transportation, the intersection of them. I'm very pleased to be here talking to members of Edmonton City Council. I last did that in 1986 in your old council chamber at the invitation of then Alderman Hayter and Mayor Decor, and it's good to be back. I'm especially pleased that I happen to be in Edmonton today on another project. I have two projects ongoing in Alberta, one for the Canada West Foundation, one for the federal government, and I was pleased to be able to have this chance to talk to you on this very important decision. My recommendation to you is not that you abandon trolley buses, but that you indeed expand the present system. There are many reasons that you will hear for doing that. My qualifications, by the way, in doing this is, as I said, I'm a consultant in this area. I've worked for the International Energy Agency extensively, for the OECD in Paris. I've worked for the United Nations on the matter. I've worked for 3 European governments, Government of Canada, Government of the US, and several private sectors in North America. One of those clients I'm revisiting in September this year, and they reminded me that I did a report for them in February 2002 when the price of crude oil was $18.30. And in that report I said that massive price increases in crude oil could be expected by the end of this decade. And today the price is 7.5 times. It's $135, 7.5 times what it was then. They were pleased to have that advice and took advantage of it. Recently I wrote a book with Anthony Pearl, who's a professor at Simon Fraser University, on the future of transport and energy. We concluded in that book, based on geological evidence and other evidence, that we are about to hit a peak in world oil production. It's going to decline. You've heard this. But the evidence is very strong, much stronger, for example, than the evidence for climate change. And that decline is going to cause even larger increases in the price of oil, the difference between supply and demand, than we've been experiencing. The purpose of our book, which focused on the US and on China, was to attempt to figure out how we can have a soft landing in this era of oil depletion that we're approaching. We conclude that we look at all of the transport modes, but we conclude for land transport that what you have to do is to electrify and electrify as quickly as possible, as quickly as you're able to. The circumstances of rich countries and poor countries are different. That's why we chose China, the most difficult poor country case, and the US, the most difficult rich country case, but the message is the same: electrify and electrify. There's a sense here in Edmonton that people in Alberta and people in Edmonton are going to be immune from all of this. I saw a column by Scott McKean in the Edmonton Journal saying, we don't have to worry about an oil crunch. We've got the oil. We don't have to worry about high oil prices. We've got the oil. But with respect, that doesn't make any sense. Edmonton is part of the world. It's part of the world market in oil. The only way that prices in Edmonton or in Alberta could be lower than the rest of the world, apart from the small tax difference, is if the government of Alberta subsidizes pump prices. This is not going to happen. And indeed, if it did happen under NAFTA, the government of Alberta or the government of Canada would be required to introduce rationing as well. That will take me more than the 5 minutes I have to explain. These things are not going to happen. Edmonton, Alberta are going to experience the same kind of escalation in oil prices that we can expect for the rest of the world. That has to be taken as a given. There's been mention of people regretting giving up trolleys. You don't have to go as far as Europe to find that regret. I live in Toronto. I've lived there for 40 years. I've been very much part of the scene there. And one of the big regrets now is that Toronto gave up its trolley bus system in 1992. And it's been described by the last chair of the Toronto Transit Commission, the TTC, as the worst decision the TTC ever made. It's been spoken of by the current chair of the TTC as being something that will have to be remedied very soon. Toronto is going to reintroduce trolley buses. I very much hope that Edmonton not only keeps its trolley buses but decides to expand them. It's a very good opportunity for Edmonton to exert some leadership in the new era of energy that we have, and I very much hope that you do it. Thank you.